Hi everybody, it's August 1st, Friday, August 1st, 2025, and this video was part of a video journal in my recovery from the trauma of watching my little brother, Paul Kierans, 65, with Down syndrome, be locked up by the British Columbia New Democratic Party government, with David Eby as leader, for 588 days, and then he died. Paul was locked away after I complained to the Burnaby RCMP when I discovered a secret and what I believe was a fraudulent and forged representation agreement or power of attorney the government created, his government group home created, with their employees as witnesses, appointing my 82-year-old Catholic nun sister 4,000 kilometers away in Ontario as Paul's guardian so they could give him the COVID-19 shot. So I'd been visiting Paul when he was with this group home for 32 years, and they didn't terminate my visits until 4 days after I complained to the Burnaby RCMP when I discovered that they had created the secret, fraudulent, forged power of attorney. And then they used the secret, fraudulent, and forged power of attorney to order the nun to terminate Paul's in-person contact with me. The group home's lawyer wrote me and said, "You'll never see your brother again." So it's been a very long, torturous journey. I fought as hard as I could to restore Paul's visits with me. Eventually, they let us have a 10-minute telephone visit once a week. These are truly cruel and evil people. Paul begged for me to visit him. He begged for me to take him to a movie. And they only let me visit him in person after he had a stroke. So the reason they locked him up was they didn't want me to have the opportunity to take him to a psychiatrist or psychologist and have him tested to show he wasn't capable of choosing a representative and to get a sample of his authentic signature. But then once he had a stroke, then they didn't need to worry about that, so they allowed me to visit him for 10 minutes a day. These people are cruel and evil. This new Democratic Party government is, they're dirty commies. What can you say? They come from the Chinese Communist Party of China book of governance. But anyway, so it's been a super exciting week. I just wanted to bring you all up to date. As you know, I appeared before the British Columbia Court of Appeal, appealing the dismissal of my application or my petition to be appointed Paul's guardian, and appealing the appointment of the evil nun as his guardian. And then after Paul died, there wasn't enough that they tormented him, isolated and confined him for 588 days. After he died, they went after me because they found out that I knew they were being investigated by the Burnaby RCMP. Burnaby RCMP had been ordered by their oversight agency, the Civilian Review and Complaints Commission for the RCMP in Ottawa, to reopen the investigation into this fraudulent and forged power of attorney. And once the nun found out that I knew that they were being investigated, then she applied to have me declared a vexatious litigant. It's a very rare and draconian designation, which means that I have to apply to a judge to do anything. I can't file an affidavit, I can be sued, and I can't respond without permission of the court. And so I appealed that decision, and that appeal took place on June 24th and 25th of this year. And then within a couple of days, they delivered their reasons and they dismissed my appeal of the designation of being a vexatious litigant. So I just turned on all the burners and I got an application. I wrote a 164-page application to the Supreme Court of Canada, which requires, it's a lot of documents that you have to assemble, and plus a 20-page argument. and I filed it on July 24th. And the court wrote me right away, like within not even 24 hours. They wrote me the next morning, and they said they needed to have the final filed copy of the court order at the Court of Appeal dismissing my appeals, and affidavits of service that I had served the evil nun and her lawyers and the Attorney General of British Columbia and the Attorney General of Canada. So all week I've been running around. It cost me $89 to swear. You need to take these affidavits. I took my affidavits of service to a local lawyer, and it cost me $89 for him to witness it. So that's what I did with these simple little affidavits of service. But to sign my brother's whole life away, the group home, the British Columbia government group home, had him sign this document, or they say he signed it, in front of two of their low-level employees. Not a notary, not a lawyer. But anyway, so it cost me $89 to swear these affidavits of service. And then I also had to get the reasons for judgment for the court orders from the judge that declared me or designated me a vexatious litigant. And I begged her for these reasons. It's what's called a reasons for judgment. And it's just, all their reasoning about why they did what they did. And she would not give me, she was stalling. She would not give me these reasons for judgment. So I had to hire a court transcriber, and that cost me $157, which is actually very reasonable. Thank you very much, court transcriber, because I was expecting it to cost $500. But that tells you how little the judge said, that the reasons for judgment were only $157, including tax. So I got the reasons for judgment. I got everything that was outstanding that I needed to include in my application filed today by 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So it's all done, every single thing of all these documents that I had to organize. Oh, and the other thing is that the British Columbia Court of Appeal, they were stalling. They wouldn't provide me with the filed copy of the court order dismissing my appeals either. And so I had to write them a strongly worded letter just saying, my brother died tragically during this litigation, and I was hoping that they would move quickly. So I entered the filed order this morning, and then I had to go and pay. I had to pay for the hearing fees for the appeal at the British Columbia Court of Appeal. Even though you lose, you still have to pay. So that was $250. So in the last 2 days, I've spent $89 to swear 3 affidavits of service, $250 for the hearing fees at the Court of Appeal of British Columbia, and $157 for the transcript of what the judge said. But it's all done. I wrote the Supreme Court of Canada, it's file number 41902. I had to I wrote them a letter just enclosing these reasons for judgment, and I said, now my application for leave to appeal is complete, and I hope that you'll process it on an urgent basis, because I have a heart condition, and I don't want to die. That's a thought that goes through my mind. It's that it's defamatory, and I don't want to die having been labeled a vexatious litigant. I don't want to die at all. I hope I don't. But I had a heart attack in 2016. I've got lupus, and I have a potentially life-threatening heart condition, and I've got kidney failure. So I don't want this hanging over my head. And that's what I wrote in the letter to the Registrar of the Supreme Court of Canada, that I hope they move quickly, because I don't want to risk dying being unfairly labeled a vexatious litigant. That's really the absolute worst thing you can say about a lawyer. There's nothing worse you can say. It's other than, there's just really nothing worse you can say. And if I have to go to the Supreme Court of Canada to set it straight, You know, they tormented Paul for 588 days and then he died, and then they tormented me. This is going to stop. It's never going to happen again. Anyways, that's it for now. Thank you for everybody that's been following along, and thank you for all the people that contribute to my GoFundMe back in the day. It really helps to know that I can share what's going on with you guys. Take care, everybody. I love you all.